Hi guys, so today we're going to be taking our notes over Chapter 8, Section 1 and 2. So if you're new to our class, there is a notes sheet that is right underneath this video on this assignment. So make sure you have that uploaded while you're also listening and following along to the video. As I go through this PowerPoint, you will be filling in the answers or filling in the correct words for the missing spots on your notes. Okay, so these are completely the same as should look the same as your notes, broken up into different sections. So for each page on this PowerPoint, you will have a section of notes that you need to fill out. Those are called skeleton notes, which mean that there are certain spots in the notes that are missing, and it's your job to make sure that you are listening and following along with this PowerPoint to make sure that you get those notes all filled out for your test. It's important that you save them to your Google Drive so you can make sure to keep those notes with you for your test on Thursday. So let's go ahead and get started. So Chapter 8, Section 1. First, we talked about physical geography. So we're going to be talking about Southwest Asia. The region of Southwest Asia is called the Middle East. Anatolia is the large peninsula in the Asian part of Turkey. So if you guys remember us talking about Turkey, this is the small part that we talked about that connects both Europe and is in both Europe and Asia. The Jordan River is one of the largest rivers in the world. It empties into the Dead Sea, which is found in Turkey. The Dead Sea. Bacteria is the only life to survive in this water because it is the world's saltiest lake. Because of the salt content, no other life is able to live there. So there are no animals, no fish, anything. Bacteria is the only living organism that is able to survive in that water. It also contains the lowest point on any continent. So if you were to dive into the Dead Sea, you could swim all the way down into the lowest part of the world. Okay, so it's the lowest part found on any continent. The Eastern Mediterranean is a mostly dry region. So last semester, if you were here, we talked about different types of climates. So here are the 4 climates that exist in the Mediterranean region. There's the steppe climate, the desert climate, the humid subtropical climate, and the Mediterranean. Who would have thought that the Mediterranean climate would be taking place in the Mediterranean? That's crazy. So most of these climates are pretty dry climates altogether, but some of them allow for a small amount of precipitation. I'll give you 1 second to be able to make sure you have all those notes filled in. Make sure that you go back in this video also. If you missed something from the notes, you should be able to scroll through and try to find those answers to be able to fill in. Physical geography, page 2. Much of Syria and Jordan are covered by the Syrian deserts. Remember, we talked about how dry it is there. People of the Eastern Mediterranean are mostly farmers, which is really interesting because it's so dry there. Subsistence farming and livestock herding are the most common types of farming. Region's resources include sulfur, mercury, and copper. So remember we talked about that there are 2 different kinds of farming. There's the farming that we know here in Indiana, which is mostly farmers will plant crops and things like that they sell, or they sell goods that we can use to survive. Where in places that are a little bit drier, like Turkey and Syria, they have to find a different type of farming. So subsistence farming and livestock herding are the most common types of farming there because they're not able to grow as many crops. So instead, they're going to sell things like cheese and milk and meat and things that they can get from those livestock or their farms. It's kind of almost like a ranch more than it is a farm like we know today. I'll give you 1 second to make sure you have those notes filled out. Turkey. By the 1920s, Turkey was a democratic nation. Constantinople soon became the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Ottoman Turks captured the city of Constantinople. They made Constantinople eventually the capital of the Islamic Empire. So you guys remember when we talked about the Ottoman Empire? So this was the very beginning. They captured the Byzantine, it became the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Ottoman Turks were the people who lived in the Ottoman Empire, and they captured the city of Constantinople. One interesting fact about Constantinople was that it was one of the main trading ports for the entire world. So many people would go there to sell their goods and to trade different things with other people for other goods and services. The Ottoman Empire fought on the losing side of World War I. We talked about this a lot last week. The empire lost much of their land after the war. Military leaders soon took power, led by Mustafa Kemal. Okay, so he soon became the leader of what we had known as the Ottoman Empire, but later was turned into Turkey. He was later named Kemal Ataturk, which means the father of the Turks. Ataturk created the nation of Turkey, or the democratic nation of Turkey. So it was at one time the Ottoman Empire, made up of several different countries. Later, Ataturk became the leader of what we know of as today as Turkey. Ataturk changed the capital of Constantinople to Ankara. Okay, so remember, it went from Constantinople, that was the name of the capital city. Now it's Ankara. Ankara was later renamed to Istanbul. This is a name that we know the capital city of Turkey as today. Okay, so make sure you remember that. If you look on a map, you're able to find the city of Istanbul. Make sure you get those notes filled out, and we'll move on in just a second. Modern Turkey. Ataturk wanted to modernize Turkey. Ataturk banned traditional clothes like the fez, which is the hat that I showed you guys a picture of in class last week if you were there. If not, I highly encourage you of looking up a picture of a fez because it's a very interesting looking hat. He also replaced the Arabic alphabet with the Latin alphabet and adopted the metric system. Okay, so we use the metric system in science and in math in several different areas of our lives. Okay, so this made a really big impact on the people who were living there because they basically had to relearn everything that they had already learned to do. This split the cultures into two separate groups, the urban middle class and the rural villagers. We talked about this last week. The urban middle class accepted the modern changes. So if you went into the urban middle class, you might see people who are dressed more modern, or their businesses might be more modern, or their jobs and the way that their houses look and things like that. Where rural villagers wanted a traditional way of life. So if you went out into the country, you might see people in more traditional dress, traditional clothing. Kebabs are a traditional Turkish dish. Remember, kebabs are when we have that really pointy stick and we're able to put meat and vegetables and things like that, and we end up grilling it or cooking it. Turkey also has a secular government. Secular means that that religion is kept separate from government. So you guys remember when I talked about the separation of church and state in the United States? The United States is a secular government because one religion does not influence the decisions that we make as American citizens. We try to keep religion and our government separate from one another. Okay, that's the end of your notes for today. As you are welcome to go back and rewatch this video as many times as you would like. If you need to go back and stop and pause the video to make sure that you have all of your notes filled out, that's great. We'll do section 3 and section 4 tomorrow, so make sure you look out for that. Other than that, have a great day. Make sure you're re-looking over your notes in the chapter and that you're ready for your test on Thursday. Have an awesome day.